Coming in at 41, Planet Hulk. Planet Hulk is a good movie. It's definitely, I haven't really been following the Hulk comics like that, but I actually thought this movie was actually pretty cool. The animation style is actually pretty cool. The visual, the sound, the voice performances are actually pretty cool. The fights were pretty badass. Hulk gets stranded on this other planet, has to compete with gladiators and stuff, and has to deal with overthrowing the king, who's a jackass. And just the fights were actually pretty cool and pretty memorable, and the story was actually pretty cool. Not to mention, Beta Ray Bill makes an appearance in this, and him and Hulk just had this really brutal, badass fight. So that was there. That's that too. I was actually hoping that this would lead to a World War Hulk, and I still hope that Marvel will do that. But you never know. Hopefully they will. Coming in at 42, Justice League Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters is the different take on the Justice League, in which the characters are different people. So instead of it being Jor-El's son, Kal-El, it's Zod's son, who's become Superman. Instead of it being Diana Prince becoming Wonder Woman, it's I forgot her name. She's one of the people from the New Gods. She becomes Wonder Woman. Instead of it being Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, it's Lang, the guy that's Man-Bat. And the alternate version is him, who becomes Batman. And I like that. I like that these are different incarnations of the characters, and their code and stuff is pretty brutal as well. But I do like the development of the characters. I like the relationships. I like seeing these different incarnations of other characters outside of them as well. I think it has some really cool fight sequences. I think it had a really cool story, and I'm looking forward to seeing more, because I think this actually has potential to carry on to be other. To be bigger too. Like, I would like to see a series, which I think they do have a series, which I need to go check out. But hopefully they have other incarnations of other characters in it as well. So I like Gods and Monsters, and I need to invest more time into that. Coming in at number 2, Superman 2. Now, if you want to say the Richard whatever's cut, then I guess fine. I actually like Superman 2. Don't like Superman 1. Hate Superman 3. Superman 4 is decent. But Superman 2 is really cool. I like the fact that, we get more insight into Superman, his backstory, his relationship with Lois Lane, which is developed, him trying to figure out if he wants to be normal or not, which I like that storyline as well. Of course, you got to bring in Zod, you have to bring in Nan, you have to bring in whatever that chick's name, and I actually think the fights are actually pretty entertaining. I think this is actually a pretty entertaining film, and I think it's probably the second best Superman film. Coming in at number 44, The Dark Knight Rises. This movie is polarizing to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. But me, I have to say I think it's a good conclusion to the Christopher Nolan Batman. I think it's interesting, the story and kind of the scope of it, and I see what they were going for and how it's all linked up. I do like the villains, I have to say that. I like Talia. I think she was actually pretty sexy and pretty smart, and her plan was actually pretty cool. Bane was just a straight up beast in this film. Tom Hardy did his thing in this film as Bane. I like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. She was sexy, she was smart, she was sleek. I liked the outfit. I liked what she contributed to the film. I just like this film overall. The music, the scope, the story, the action sequences that are in the film were actually pretty cool too. So as a conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy, and plus they do leave off on a what could have or what could be, I think that was actually pretty cool as well. Coming in at number 45, Green Lantern First Flight. Green Lantern, this is a good movie. I like Green Lantern. I like Hal Jordan. I like Kyle Rayner more, and I would like to see a movie with him. But I think this is a really good origin story for Hal Jordan. It's got some really cool action. I like the animation style. I like the fights. This is just a really good, entertaining film. And plus, this is the one you get kind of see Sinestro in the throes of becoming the Yellow Lantern. So it was actually pretty good. In fact, damn near every incarnation of movie or whatever you see Sinestro becoming Yellow Lantern. but basically him turning to the dark side. But I do like First Flight. I think it's a really entertaining and really the only good adaptation of his story in movie so far. I'm not one of the ones that completely hate the Ryan Reynolds ones. I think it's okay. I don't think it's like terrible, but I think it's okay. But anyways, continuing on. Wonder Woman, the one movie that came in 2009, really good film. It has a lot of good action. It has a lot of good heart. I like the animation style. I like the story. I think it's really, really, really entertaining. I do think that the scope of it is really, really cool, and I'm glad that they actually kind of brought in like more of the Greco-Roman aspect of the mythology to Wonder Woman's mythology. I like the scope of it, where it's like it basically in the world. And Ares, I think it was actually a pretty menacing villain, and I like the turn, the way they turn the tables between how the story, how the intro tells the story. I'm trying to give too much away. I like how they twist it at the end to go the opposite way. I think what it starts off is as the Queen Hippolyta kills Ares' son, and then Queen Hippolyta's daughter ends up killing Ares. It's something like that. I think that's what it was, but it was actually pretty cool, pretty well done. Also, for 47, Men in Black. Men in Black I thought was actually pretty cool. I didn't know this was a comic book movie for the longest time, but I thought it was really cool. And seeing the chemistry between Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith actually just brought a smile to my face. It's great seeing these two interact on screen. I like the film. I like the idea of it. I like how stylish the film looks. Not only with the different aliens, the set pieces, the backdrops, the technology, the suits. Everything just feels so stylishly polished when you look at this film. Coming in at 48, X-Men 2, X-Men United. Really like this film. It's definitely a good follow-up to the first film. There's a lot more action sequences in it. There's a lot more insight and focus on the characters. A lot of characters that didn't get fleshed out in the first film, they get fleshed out a bit better in this film, and it works. Come on, that intro with Nightcrawler was just mad crazy. It's one of the best intros to any comic book movie ever. It was just straight up badass. But I like the story of it. I like seeing Hugh Jackman as Logan and how he's fitting into all of this and the emotional journey that he has to deal with, especially what happens at the end of the film. So it's a great movie all around, really, really entertaining, and definitely a good sequel. Coming in at 49, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. A lot of people think the first Guardians of the Galaxy is better than this one. I think they're pretty much even. I do like, again, this is one of those where it focuses, where the first film introduces the characters and the second film kind of focuses more on the internal struggles, things with their backstories that they have to deal with, their interpersonal relationships. And I like the fact that this film does focus on all of that stuff. I think it's fun. I think it's a good follow-up. I think that there's some really cool, entertaining sequences in it. The humor is definitely there. And not to mention, got one of my favorite actors in the film as well. For some reason, I'm having a problem remembering his name now. I hate that when that happens. I don't know. I don't remember his name, but it's great seeing him in the film. He does contribute something. And he made Ego a pretty interesting villain. And that's one thing I can't say about this film. Ego is one of those characters I thought was a stupid concept, but in this film, they actually made him pretty interesting, pretty cool. And coming in at number 50, Watchmen. Watchmen is one of those movies where they take the concept of superheroes and they make it deadly serious. But there's a lot of social undertones to this film that I think actually works. And I like the fact that the superhero point of it does a good job of that it focuses on superheroes, that it tells a story through them and those social ideologies through them and what they mean to the world and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And I think a lot of people actually do kind of miss out on that, like the message behind the movie. But this is a really good and entertaining movie nonetheless. So Watchmen, number 50, definitely on the list.